Hi, can you see my screen? Paris? You're muted.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, yeah, I can see your screen perfectly.
Okay, awesome. And you can see when I change?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It looks really good too.
Okay, awesome. Super. I think I got it figured out then.
Perfect. So I'll just, I mean, if they know who you are, then I can just, I mean, it's up to you on how you kind of want to do it, but I just kind of want to be on here and help you for the first 10 minutes because I know a lot of people will be popping on.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
And I actually, so to take attendance, you don't need to have their market center number, right? We just like need to just know who's on.
Yeah, just the names. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Also,
go ahead.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
My video?
Mm-hmm.
I can't see myself, so I can't figure out how to position my tablet. If it's positioned here, can you see me, or is it like basically the back of my truck that you see?
No, I see. That's actually perfect. I wouldn't move it.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then, so you can't see yourself at all?
No, I can only see you.
Okay. That's kind of annoying, but I always like being able to see myself, but I wonder if you can change that. Do you like to see you or is it fine?
Oh, I don't know if I have a preference or not.
Okay, good. Well, then we won't mess with it, but
yeah, as long as like they can see if I'm positioned right, then I just won't move my tablet, and then when I need to move the screen, I'll just reach forward and move it.
yeah, that's perfect because I can see you, like the lighting is good and everything right now.
Excellent. Then I'm just gonna put instructor notes on my phone.
Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is I'll just start adding people to here so you don't have to deal with it. When I log off, just I'll maybe text you and see if anyone else came on, just so I can double check the attendance, but I'll take attendance at first so you don't have to like screenshot your tablet or do anything like that.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, just let me know if anyone pops on after I leave.
Okay, that sounds good.
Sweet.
And you guys have the ability to edit. I know it's recording right now, but you guys have the ability to edit this first part out like before you post it on the website for review, right?
Yeah, I can. I definitely can. I think so, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I wonder if does this block the view of me at all when I mount my phone?
No, but I can definitely see your phone.
You can.
Yeah, I can see it, but it doesn't bother. I can see you more, but
okay.
That's better that way.
Okay, cool. We'll keep it that way then.
Yeah. And if for some reason they don't have the student manual, do you want me to just copy and paste the link to the chat box?
That would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to deal with it or scramble for it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay. I'll do it right now, just so it's in there.
Oh, okay. And since we have 6 minutes left, I'm actually going to run for one more thing before we start.
Okay.
Daniel Nyberg.
Okay, can you do me a favor? I'm gonna
Yeah.
send you this link. Can you just make sure that that link goes straight to the Ignite manual?
Yeah. You want to text it to me or just
It's in the
email it?
chat, the Zoom chat.
Oh. Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the chat.
Before I send it to everybody else.
Yeah, it pulls it right up.
Okay, sweet. I will copy and paste this to everyone.
Oh, do you want me to be letting people in or do you wait like a little bit?
I would just let people in. Do you see people?
Yeah.
Oh, I was duh, because I'm not on your. Yeah, I'm gonna have to log off and go on yours too. I'll be back
Okay.
so I can.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Is this thing on?
It's on. I can hear you.
Perfect.
How's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. I'm just going to be letting people in as we go. So you might see me being a little distracted here.
I do not blame you. Letting people in the room is generally a high focus job.
So funny. That is definitely like the one thing that's different about doing trainings on Zoom than in real life. Like you can leave the door open in real life. In Zoom, not so much.
I don't know. I think it's a pretty similar kind of situation, all things considered. You leave the door open at a training session and somebody might come streaking through the room too. You never know. But I think Zoom, it's a little easier to get away with it.
Okay, perfect. So Alicia Sells, we got Daniel
Good
Knight,
morning.
Robert Valentine, Jessica
Hello.
Wade. So yeah, when we get everyone in here, because I am the PC coach for the Salem Market Center, but I don't know all of you, I'd love to do like a round robin introduction. I
There we
think I
go.
missed someone. Paris, are you letting people in for me now?
Yep, I am. I'll be
Awesome.
here. Yes, of course.
I can type this out real quick.
Oh, so for those of you who are here already, there's a link to the Ignite material in the group chat. If you don't have the physical binder yet, you can grab the link and be able to have the material and follow along and do the activities.
Where can we pick up the binder, Shauna?
You can pick it up at the office. I had more than I needed printed, so I know that Emma is out sick, and I'll have to just check with her to confirm if they've come in or not and where she put them for pickup. But they were supposed to be in on Tuesday, which was yesterday, so they may or may not be there.
And just really fast, you guys, do you see that link on your chat for the student manual?
I do not.
Okay, for some reason I don't see it either. So let me send it to you guys again.
I just saw it now.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, got it as well. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Paris, do you have a total head count on who all is supposed to be here so we know when we should go ahead and get started?
I think you can get started now. I mean, with it being Ignite, anyone can really pop on. So I'll keep looking at this and make sure to admit people, but I think you can definitely get started now.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, this one is a little bit longer. I mean, sometimes it takes longer because we're working through some mindset stuff, and it'll be really important to do the activities while we're here with each other in class. So I do want to get started promptly. We're going to go over quite a bit today, but I'll do a brief overview. Oh, that goes right into the first activity. So I'll just leave it on this screen for now. I'll just give you a quick and dirty overview of what we'll be covering today, and then we'll go into the first activity. So today's session is really about getting your head in the game, especially around your mindset. And I think in real estate, mindset is important. I mean, mindset is important in life, but in real estate, it's especially important because we're our own boss. And a lot of times starting out, like, we do not have anyone on our team, it's us. So we have to get ourselves up in the morning and do the hard things, like do the lead generation, do whatever needs to be done, because we're the only one to do it. And we haven't gotten to the point in our sales or whatever progression that we're doing professionally where we can hire the assistant or, have employees that we can delegate to. So having the correct mindset, like very starting off and launching, is really, really important. So we're going to talk a lot about mindset today, especially around the 6 personal perspectives. And and then we are going to talk about knowing the reason why you're in business and allowing that to be kind of the fuel behind your drive will help you a lot if you can link a real personal why. Because a lot of times business goals are really, they're obscure and they're cold. They're not warm and fuzzy. It's about the numbers. But when you can link it to something that's driven by a really emotional why, it will help you push on even the hardest days. So we'll be going over that. We'll talk a little bit about influencing sales language, go into mindset around scripts and why scripts are important, a general strategy around script practice and using scripts. And we'll circle back around to your monetary goals, which I know those of you who are in the coaching program and in today's class have spent the last 2 days doing a lot of thinking around your business planning and your monetary goals. And then at the very end, and especially if we get done early enough, we'll go into a question and answer session, and I will stay as long as you need me to answer any questions that you have after the material's been covered. Any questions so far? Nope, good. Okay, everybody do a, how familiar are you with all of your chat tools? Do a thumbs up if you're totally familiar with your chat tools. Give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you're familiar with your chat tools. I'm not seeing any yet, so I'm going to, oh good, I see a not familiar with typing. Okay. So it's different from a computer than it is from a mobile device, but you should have a little more button. There's a thumbs up. That was from Molly. Cool. Alicia's got it. Daniel's got it. So you'll have a toolbar near your chat settings, and it has like a variety of little emojis. One is a clapping hands, one's a thumbs up, one's a heart, one's laughing, one's surprised, and then there's like a little party flyer. Someone's raising their hand. I see that. How do I, Eileen? Is that how I pronounce that? Eileen?
It's Eileen, and I did a thumbs up, I think, under reactions on my Mac.
Oh, it came up as a raise your hand.
Oh, well, I clicked on reactions at the bottom, and I did there's a clap there for you. Does it show up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yep, it shows up. Very good.
And it has a thumbs up there too.
Perfect. So this might be an easier way, since a lot of times like you keep yourself muted throughout the course material. Now that you know where to go, then when I ask for like feedback, like, does everyone understand? We can agree to do like a clap or a thumbs up for like, yes. Or if you really love something we're going over, you can use the heart. Like, I'd love to see that stuff to be kind of interactive. And then I will give opportunities for people to unmute and, you know, interact too. But sometimes it's hard with that mute to kind of, you know, get it going. So I'd love everyone to just use all those little emojis in the chat boxes, and I'll try to keep track of that as we go through. All right. So we're going to be on pages 7 and 8 in your Ignite material for the first activity. And it's going to just take a few minutes, but there's a handful of questions. And these are rhetorical, right? But I kind of want you, if you have the printed material, write it down. If you don't, just grab a notebook and write the answers in the notebook. The first one is, have you achieved your financial goals through your career so far? Why or why not? What is the one thing that makes one real estate agent more successful than others? Why don't all agents do it? And how do you feel about that? And then the last question is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful? Now, once you guys are done writing in your own answers, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And we'll move into a group discussion.
Shauna, can you see mine? Because it won't do it in the chat. I can do it with the reactions at the bottom on the toolbar. I don't know why.
Nope.
Well, I'll just have to say it then, I guess, or I don't know. I'll just put I'll write thumbs up.
Here we
Try
go.
that. I guess, I don't know what to do. I
Oh,
don't know why
that's
it's
okay.
not working.
Totally good. Or you can unmute yourself and be like, yep, got it. I'm totally fine with that. We'll just be flexible. Everybody else's, I'm seeing your thumbs up come through. So good job. I see that you wrote it. So that works. We'll just be flexible. Technology is so funny, like the different platforms and how the same kind of software can play different on different things. So yeah. I get it. Okay. So anyone who'd like to answer this first question, have you achieved your financial goals through your career so far? You don't have to say why or why not, but if you feel comfortable in being transparent with the group, I'd love to hear from you.
I will.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've written down my financial goals, but I'm still kind of overwhelmed with how to put all this stuff together because I'm so new. So I said I'm just getting started, and that's why I haven't achieved my financial goals yet.
Yeah.
But I've written them down, and I think I have a pretty good idea from the last 2 days trainings. The thing that I think makes one real estate agent more successful than the other is really putting your head down to follow the models that are proven time tested and success. Why don't agents do it? Time, discomfort, still learning how, afraid, you know. How do I feel about it? I want to do it, and I'm going to do it. I'm overwhelmed, but I'm excited about doing it. And so, yes, my desire to succeed is more powerful than my fear, but I definitely feel at the end of the day, like, oh my gosh, it's so much information, but I'm being patient.
Well, good. I hope one thing that this class does for all of you is helps you to be a little more confident in just our perception around, things that have to do with building a real estate business and building a good pipeline. There is a ton of information. The great thing is you learn as you go, and even really seasoned realtors are continuing to learn all the time. So don't feel like you have to have it all down or get it right before you start doing the activities to gain business. I think that your most important success for yourself will just be around confidence when you are talking to people, and just being confident that you can help them, because you can help them, and you have great mentors in your corner who will help you every step of the way with the knowledge that's not yet locked into your own mind. So that's the beautiful thing about Keller Williams and this program and the culture we've built around learning. So anybody else have anything different on their answer sheet regarding your financial goals, or what you think the one thing successful real estate agents do that maybe not all agents do?
I put down just determination as far as the thing that one realtor does versus another. I think that from my experience, that's sort of just key in everything you do in life, being able to persevere through the tough times and not giving up and going astray.
Yeah.
Well, and determination is an intrinsic thing, right? Kind of it's a motivator, but what are we going to do with the determination we have in an actionable item?
Lead gen, follow-up, and personal connection.
Who is that, Sheena?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That is the correct answer. Have you taken this class before?
I may have, yes.
So there's not really any wrong answer, guys, but yes, the book is trying to guide you into a conversation around lead generation. And the reason why this class focuses on lead generation, scripts, and your big why and mindset is because this is the one thing that sets productive agents apart from agents who do not close any deals. I'm not going to pull any punches about that at all. So if you cannot win the discussion with yourself around lead generation activities, you probably will not be winning much business or closing much business, which in turn will equal not getting very much income. So I just want to start with that very real conversation. Phone call. Sorry, guys. And then I also want to kind of remove some of the stigma around lead generation for you too, though, because I feel like as a society, we have this image in our minds about like getting that phone call around the dinner hour, like the robocall for like the vacation or whatever. And it's, that's not what lead generation is about, or at least not all. Like that's an option, calling. Door knocking is an option. All of the cold things that you could do, those are all really good ways to find business. And all of those, really our perception like of sales and lead generation in general as a society, like we have that perception because those are real ways to get business. And so people use them because they work. And there are a ton of other ways to do it. And actually, we're looking forward to having an entire class on that next week. So what I want you to do today is just determine in your heart and in your mind that you are going to build a business strategy that does include 4 hours of lead generation every single day. And then we're going to begin to do that in whatever way you choose to do that to get measurable results. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So what about this last question? And I'm actually going to ask the whole room. So feel free to put your answer in the chat box. Is your desire to succeed more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful, which is truly that commitment to several hours of lead generation a day? Seeing a lot of yeses, that's good. Anybody have a no? Anybody brave enough to say no?
Seriously.
Excellent. Well, that's really good. So, and that's a commitment to who?
Ourselves.
Who said that?
Eileen.
Eileen. Yeah, it is. That's right, Eileen. It is a commitment to ourselves. And, you know, if it makes you feel better, you can make that commitment to me too. And that's what, you know, Mara and myself and Matt are all here for, is as your coaches, are to hold you accountable to the commitment that you make to yourselves. But ultimately, who are you super disappointing when you don't keep your promise to yourself?
Yourself.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, did anyone read ahead and do the pre-work for this class? The mission?
No.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's okay, because I mean, this is really the first Ignite class, so you wouldn't necessarily have known this, but every class, and I'll give you an idea of the format moving forward, is there's a mission. This one will be mission 1, and there's several links on that mission for video. Normally there's some homework. A lot of times it's like, watch this video, answer this handful of questions. It's not a ton of homework, but there's a mission which gives you kind of a checklist of things that you should do and work through after class or before class to get you ready for the next mission. So the way you'll do it before Ignite number 2, since most of you haven't done the homework for number 1, is I would time block some time to do mission 1 and mission 2, so that mission 2 is done before you start class number 2. Because a lot of our conversations will be around the homework and getting your perspective on, like, how did that hit you? What did you take away from it and things like that. Anybody have any questions about that?
For finding the missions, is it in an email that was sent?
Really good question. The missions should be in the back of, I'm actually scrolling through this manual to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Prepare for your next class, Ignite mission 2. Yes, here we go. So actually, there's a couple of places to find them. Paris, are you still on? I'm just gonna check and see if I've got Paris. I think she hopped off. Okay, so I will get a hold of Paris just to verify, and we'll send an email out to like confirm this, but I'll give you some verbal instructions on how to get there. If you go to the kwtechhelp.com, everyone familiar with that website yet?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. That's our brokerage network's like easy button for how to get places on KW Connect, which can sometimes be like really overwhelming for a new agent because there's so much information on there. So they created a separate website. On that website, there's an Ignite tab, you can just scroll to, and everything should be on there, anything that you need. And there will be a link to the Ignite material right there on that Ignite tab, and it'll take you to Connect. You may have to sign in, but you can download. It'll show you like the binders are on there, digital versions. The missions are on there as separate PDFs. And then you can find your missions and your action plans at the back of the book as well. Like for mission 2, it's actually located on page 66 of your Ignite 1 manual. Any other questions?
I think, Shauna, like looking at the manual, if you go to the very back, that each section is numbered from 1 to whatever. So I don't see page 66 unless somebody else sees it. Let me find a page 6. Oh, wait, here, maybe here. No, session 5. It's in session 7 at the very back, maybe there.
Oh, do you have a printed binder?
Yes.
So it should be a part of your session 1 for your material today.
Okay.
And it's like a big, should be about 69 pages worth of material for today's class. Is that what you're seeing?
I'm looking now.
That's what I've got.
Okay, I see page 66. Okay,
Awesome.
I'm so sorry. There it is there. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, no problem. It's like a lot of material every single time we sign into class. So just getting the navigation part down is,
Yeah.
is important and a little bit of a learning curve. So I have no issue helping you out on that at all.
Shauna, is it okay to print just the pages that we need to write on if we're getting it offline?
Oh yeah, like because you opted for a digital version. Oh shoot.
Well,
made
I
it
just,
go away.
if I'm in the right spot, I just found it from the initial page that where we sign into the meeting. It says student resources. And then under student resources, it showed all the Ignite Power session and then all the sessions. And then I clicked on the link and then it popped up with a Word document. Is that correct?
With a Word document.
It's a, yeah, Power session, Microsoft Word Power Session 1, Ignite Your Business 10/3/19, and it's a doc. I'm able to scroll to 70 pages.
Oh, interesting. Normally it opens as a PDF. I've never seen it open in docs before, but maybe
it is. I don't know enough about it to tell you. Maybe it is a PDF, but either way, I'm able to print one page at a time. So is it okay if I read it off and instead of printing the whole thing and just print the parts we have to write on?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also okay if you want a printed manual that the Market Center ordered for you too. You just need to reach out to your DFI or MCA in your Market Center and ask for one.
Okay.
And then so oh, that's so funny. We're having this conversation about missions because that's literally the very next slide. I'm teaching a class, so
I don't know how to use the laminator and you want me to do that.
ask Sierra, she knows. I'm sorry. This is my daughter.
You're in your car again, Shauna.
Huh?
You're in your car.
I'm in my
away from
truck.
the kids.
You guys, like step into my office. It's
I
so
get it.
funny. Okay, so the backstory is it's the fourth quarter and I prep all of my marketing in the fourth quarter for the following year. So we're working on a lot of like my pop buys and the Christmas presents and like all of my little client gifts for my marketing plan for the year. And my kids are awesome and they help me with that. And so I have them in there laminating.
Can't you make us for school credit or something? For school credit or something.
We're gonna call it like a work.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they call that? Like
work experience.
Thank you. Work experience. I also have them help me cook lunch, and we call it home ec. So
Excellent.
that's my way to punch this whole COVID situation in the face. I'm like, okay, well, we're going back to home ec and work experience. We
The
also
real
do
life skills.
real life
Come on.
skills. Yes. Plus it's fun. And I think it's awesome to teach your kids about your business. Like I feel kind
Right.
of fulfilled at the end when I'm like, this is marketing. This is
Yeah,
why I do this. And
awesome.
you know. So, okay, so now we're talking about the missions. It says to refer to page 14 through 17 for this, and I wonder why it's saying that. So I'm going to go to that in my instructor manual. Maybe you'll get an example there. Okay, I see. So it's just showing you kind of an example of what a mission looks like. But whoever was on a few minutes ago and had mentioned following that link and getting to like the resources page, there should be links that say mission and they have like a number behind them.
Okay.
So I got to let a couple of people into the class here. There we go. So that's where you find your missions. If you have any trouble finding your missions, please feel free to shoot me an email. If you guys all want to write my email address down. Since this is our first Ignite class, I'd rather you just go ahead and shoot me that email like, hey, I'm totally lost and I didn't find any of my stuff. So we can get you set up for success from the beginning. Because if you can't get into your stuff, then it's going to be really difficult to move forward with this. So my email address is shawna.rife@kw.com. That's SHAWNA, like Robert, F like Frank, @kw.com. All right, perfect.
Will you be
Now,
doing all of these for us? Will we have you for the same?
Brian, what was that? Can you repeat yourself?
Will you be doing all of these with us? Is that how this works?
No, the exciting part about Ignite is you get an opportunity to be taught from all of the, like several of the top agents in the Market Center. So most of the instructors for the actual Ignite sessions will be our very top producing agents in the Market Center, which is cool because they'll teach you the material, but then they also have their own personal stories of what they did in their business, and examples like that. And I feel like it's so valuable. In fact, I took Ignite 3 times when I was new to Keller Williams because of the opportunity to get in front of the high producing agents and have those conversations with them. I thought it was awesome. Okay, so any other questions about how the material works, how the binders work and the missions and homework? Good. I'm going to take that as a no. And we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward, and I want to actually go backwards a little bit. I know that's kind of funny, and I know none of you guys watched the videos about 6 personal perspectives, but I still want to have a conversation around them. So give me a thumbs up if you've ever taken Ignite before and this is like your second or third time through.
Nobody.
Nobody? Okay. Oh, Sheena. So Sheena, do you remember from the first time you took Ignite about the 6 personal perspectives video and what you learned?
I don't. Ignite is like drinking water from a fire hose.
Okay. Well, we're going to have a mini conversation about this. And then this is my challenge to all of you, is to take time this evening to watch even just that one video. Or it may be on your mission, it might actually be 6 separate small videos. But the 6 personal perspectives is essentially, it just kind of gives you like rules of engagement for this real estate walk and like your whole situation. So regardless of what information sticks and what doesn't stick, if you can get these first 6 to stick, it will be like your guiding principles for everything else, kind of the lens that you see the rest of the real estate world by. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So number 1, commit to self-mastery. In our world, this is a lot about scripts, knowing what to say and when to say it. It's also about, well, what the term sounds like, what self-mastery, it sounds like mastering yourself, right? So sometimes that's bossing ourselves around when we don't want to do stuff. Like self-mastery is all about being in charge of yourself in a way that gives you those feel-good feelings when you get the result that you're looking for. And it's an easy concept to talk about and to set a goal towards.
Can I be in Eli's house?
Yes. Light bulb. Light bulb. It's so self-mastery is an easy concept to talk about, right? That's why we all do New Year's resolutions. Because we feel like, you know, we're gonna lose 50 pounds this year, or like stop eating sugar, or I don't know, work out, or any of the other New Year's resolutions that you make. But doing it, the true embodiment of self-mastery is more about knowing yourself and using that knowledge. I'm obviously going to have to circle back around with my kids about the rules for when I'm teaching class.
No doubt.
Anyway, so just making sure that you kind of whip yourself into shape, right? So knowing your scripts, doing your lead generation, doing it every day, you know, checking those boxes. The 80-20 principle, can anyone, like, this is not a new concept for the world. It's actually pretty popular. Does anyone know or have ever heard about the 80-20 principle?
80%.
Alicia, Sells. Yes. No, you're like, never mind. That's
something.
Okay. Who else?
I'll say something.
Yeah.
Prior to being going into this industry, I worked in fundraising. And so every day I would think about what things would be most important to bring money in the door. And I would do those things first. And that 20% of my time would lead to 80% of my gifts, you know, coming into the nonprofit I was serving. So I'm well familiar with it. And it's super important. It also relates to donors. So 20% of your donors are going to give you about 80% of your money. 20% of your leads are going to give you 80% of your sales.
Yes. Very good. Perfect. This is the funny thing. It's like a mathematical certainty, and you can use it in almost any industry or not industry, in any social setting, anything that can be measured in terms of results. You'll see the 80-20 principle show up. It's like the weirdest thing, but I will tell you, like, for those of you who go to church, like, who are the people who are always volunteering and like getting all the stuff done? Like, it's the same 6 or 7 people every time, right? It's probably like 20% of the whole congregation are the people doing everything. The same applies to any kind of business strategy. There are a couple of key levers that will, like, literally, if you pull them, you will make it to 80% of your goal for the year. And the other 20% is made up of all the little stuff. So this is the 80-20 principle, is what are the 2 big levers that I can pull that will actually get me 80% of the way to my goal, basically. And in real estate, those two levers are lead generation and follow-up. That's it. Lead generation and follow-up. If you are lead generating every day and doing what you say you're going to do to the people who end up being interested and wanting you to follow up with them, and you do follow up, like, that's where your money comes from. Pretty much everything else is just like the secondary kind of busy, tasky things that when you start making money can be very easily delegated to assistants, transaction coordinators, et cetera, et cetera. Is that exciting to anyone but me?
Delegating, yeah.
The delegating, yeah. All for it. Well, in a previous life, I was in management for a long time. I spent like a decade in management, the better part of my adult working years. Like I spent just a couple years doing like the regular job, and then I flew right into management and I lived there for a decade. And when I started in real estate, it was like the biggest shock to my system to not be able to delegate to anyone.
Yeah.
I was lost. I was like lost. I was depressed. I was like pissy and irritated because I couldn't get a handle on what was important, like my one thing, my 20%. And I had no one to say, like, if you could just do this, I'll handle this and we'll be just fine, you know? So then I moved to Keller Williams and I took Ignite, and I learned that, hey, you actually don't have to do all of the other stuff you think you have to do. Just focus on your 20%, start making the money, and then go ahead and hire yourself someone you can delegate to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I did that as soon as it was humanly possible, because for me, that's what it took. Like, I just wanted to be able to pull the first 2 levers and give the other 8 to someone else. Oh. So what about E to P? Does anyone have any guesses on what that means?
And then I'm going to talk to the inspector about getting that scheduled as quickly as possible.
Oh.
Is he living there right now, or is he just?
He's not on mute.
I think it means entrepreneurial to purposeful.
Oh, good. Who was that? Who was that answering?
Alicia.
Oh, Alicia. Awesome. Yes, that's right. It's from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Alicia, what does that mean to you?
Inspector, and then I'll
I
just let you guys
think
know
for
when
me,
we're available,
it's just
see if that works
being,
out for everybody, and then we'll go from there.
I don't know, just having the
Yeah, I mean,
ideas
he
and having a
seems
mindset, and then
just like
doing
looking at
things that are
everything he has in the
purposeful
house,
to
the
get
way
that
he set everything up,
accomplished.
seems like.
Okay, good. Yeah, you're definitely on track to get there. You're on a path. Here's what I will tell you about the difference between entrepreneurial and purposeful. Entrepreneurial means that you have, like, okay, let's just think about an entrepreneur, for example. They are always coming up with new, innovative, super awesome ideas, right? Like, and they're sexy ideas, and then they act on them, and it's so cool because they get some kind of result out of that idea, and it looks really neat. That's what I think of when I think of an entrepreneur, is like someone who has a good idea and then acts on it. And what I can tell you about that is, and you can see this in business a lot, entrepreneurs will start those businesses and get them to as far as they can get them financially or whatever, and then they sell those businesses. That's how they make their money. They start a business, build it a little, sell it. Start a business, build it, sell it. Start a business, build it, sell it. That's it. That's all they do. So they're really good at having the good ideas and being creative, not so good at building a business that's sustainable for growth, right? So in real estate, if you would like to be successful long-term, what you need to do is have the really awesome ideas, but you also have to have the skills and ability to implement the models and the systems that will enable you to build and grow a sustainable business over time. So the agents, and I know you guys know the statistics about agents who enter the market and they're a realtor for like a minute and they fall out in their first year. 87% actually stop doing real estate in their first year because they can't figure out how to start making money, right? That's problem number one. Problem number two is the other 90% of the realtors that are left over quit within 3 years. Because problem number two is once they've had some sales, they're not possessing the skill set or the goal to be purposeful in growth and sustaining their business in the long term. So what Keller Williams teaches is all about moving from being entrepreneurial, which is good. It's good in small doses, and especially when applied to principles of being purposeful. Does that make sense? Thumbs up if everybody thinks that makes a lot of sense. Maybe. There we go. Jessica thinks it makes sense. Anybody else? Perfect. Awesome. Being learning based is pretty self-explanatory. I think I'm just going to sail right past that one. It's basically continually learning. So always being open-minded enough to know that there may be a better way to do something than you're currently doing it now. And being wise enough to, to learn all these new ways of doing things and then decide what you'll implement. Not totally fluttering from one way to another way, but really just getting your processes set, doing and executing the correct processes, and then being learning based and always, looking for better ways to fine tune what you've got going on so that you can maintain good growth. And number 5, no limiting beliefs. What do you think that means?
Just sort of negative talking to yourself,
Yeah. Can you give me an example of a limiting belief that you might have?
This is too much for me. I can't get it done.
Right. Like just a lot.
Yep.
Okay.
Or nobody's answering, I'm going to stop calling. But it could be that last person that you call that you end up getting to talk to.
Sure.
That's a really good one too. So that was from Alicia, I think. And there's a good way that you can kind of like reframe your limiting beliefs. So for you said this is too much to handle. I can't get it all done. What would be a good reframe on, okay, because they exist. We're not going to be like, well, I don't have a limiting belief because, I'm perfect. So the thing is that we have them every day, right? And if our if the 6 personal perspectives is meant to be our guiding principles, I'm a realist. I'm not going to go through life saying like, nope, because the 6 personal perspective says no limiting beliefs. That means I don't have any, and that's what's guiding me. Not super practical in my opinion. So we learn this in BOLD. If any of you have an opportunity to take BOLD next quarter, I would highly recommend doing it. But it's basically a reframing those limiting beliefs into something that can be used to fuel your action and your behavior. So what would be a good reframe for this is way too much, I can't get it done?
I'm going to do as much as I can every day and follow the guidelines being provided to me, and eventually it will work.
Yes, you're on the right track. Can I coach you for?
Please. Yeah.
Okay. what I would say is if your reframe is I'm going to do as much as I can, then it's not super measurable and you never really know if as much as you can is actually good enough, right?
Yeah.
Because the goal is to get it all done. But if you're feeling very overwhelmed with it all, it's a rough deal to trade off feeling overwhelmed for getting stuff done, because a lot of times just the feeling of overwhelm will help us give ourselves permission that whatever it is we did, no matter what we did, was enough because it was as much as we could.
Okay.
So what I would say, and that's why we do the missions with the check boxes, because it's measurable. Like, did I do enough or not? And if you didn't get through it, that's fine, but you have a really measurable way of seeing what you have left to do in the gaps. So what I would say is time block. Like, I'm going to turn all of my notifications on silent. I will not answer other phone calls. I'm going to let my family know I'm not available, and I'm going to spend whatever amount of time is appropriate for you on doing homework or any of the activities that you set your mind to. 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is. Set that timer, turn off the distractions, get that list in front of you, and just work through it one by one until the end of the time, but just do not allow yourself to be derailed by anything else in the interim. And then that's a really measurable way to say, I did do as much as I could because I determined to set this time aside, and now I'm using this time appropriately. Right?
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. And then that's what who's your coach?
Mara.
And so then if you continue and are struggling through time management and it's a thing for you, at least you have the checklist, and you can go tomorrow and say, okay, like, I've been time blocking an hour a day. I'm working through my stuff. And it just seems like at the end of this first quarter, I've got XYZ I didn't do. Like, can you help me figure out a plan to get caught up or to figure this out? Because I'm still feeling overwhelmed. Like, and then that's what coaching sessions are for. So I love that. Thank you for being super transparent and willing to like just talk through that with me.
Thanks.
Anyone else have an example of a limiting belief that they'd like to practice reframing while we're here? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who's that?
Alyssa Reynoso. Elizabeth. Yeah.
Okay. What's yours?
In this time of year when the market's down and there's not a lot out there, like just staying positive with making sure that we work just as hard and schedule our year so that we're busy all year.
Okay, so
like when the market's down, or like when there's low inventory, and
yeah,
feels like it's everyone's saying, oh, it's low inventory, so it's easy to like buy into that and say, well, I can relax this time of year because
right, that makes a lot of sense, except for if you are setting your goals and you've got that going for you, well, what will I say? You know, we've been in a low inventory market for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Historically low.
Wow.
So,
so the numbers say otherwise.
So the numbers are terrible as far as inventory. We've been, I think, in most markets under 3 months of inventory for 5 years. And I mean, we're pretty low now. Like in some markets, we're down to like 1.3 months of inventory, and a balanced market is 6 months of inventory, just to give you kind of the framework. But there are realtors doing business and closing deals all the time.
Yeah.
And so I would say, you can give yourself an excuse of low inventory why you're not closing deals, or you can reframe it by saying, there are realtors closing deals every single day, and I'm going to be part of that group of realtors. And the way that I love doing this, because I'm doing real estate too. I'm doing deals every day. I'm doing deals every year. I'm in the top 20% of my market. So how do I do that in a super low inventory? I certainly do not do it by complaining about the inventory. No, what I do keeps my mindset really real is I'm pulling not the months of inventory, but how many houses are on the market today. Like when I pull in the WVMLS, there's 3,500 properties for sale. How many clients do I have? I do not have 3,500 clients. I have 2 buyers looking right now. So what am I going to do? I'm going to find them one of the 3,500 that's currently on the market that they want to buy. And we're getting under contract. You know what I mean? Because when you put it that way, it's a whole different ballgame, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So limiting beliefs. You guys starting to kind of get the idea around limiting beliefs. It's like, don't ignore them when they come. They're real and they are the #1 thief of your productivity. So you got to just like take them by the collar and be like, look, you terrible mindsets. Like, this is what we're doing right now. We're like, I'm reframing you and you're going to look awesome. And I'm closing deals. That's what's happening. So, okay. And accountability. Does anybody have an idea around what that means? What does that mean to you, accountability?
It's, I don't want to speak up all the time, but it's like when Mara asks us every day when we get into our Ignite session, like, what did we do the day before? And, you know, what measurable activities did you actually accomplish, and keeping track of those and then saying, okay, if you're not going to do that, this won't happen. If you do that, this will happen. So having somebody who sort of like coaches you through that and keeps you on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you were to say, and anyone can speak up and answer this, what do you think are the 2 most important pieces about accountability in terms of if it's going to work for you? What needs to be present?
That person has to be honest with you.
Honesty. Very good.
I think they have to be measurable.
Measurable. So actually having some goals, knowing what you're accountable to. What else?
Ownership.
Ownership. What does that mean to you, Jessica?
If you didn't meet the expectation that you were supposed to, it's okay to acknowledge it, because the only way you're gonna fix it and recognize is by recognizing it. Could you have called more people yesterday? Could you have been, in a face-to-face environment, engaging more wherever you were out in the public or the grocery store? It's just taking ownership with your actions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good, everybody had really, those were all super key parts to this. And like I was saying earlier about who are you going to disappoint if you don't hit your goals, And we all said, well, I'm disappointing myself. Like, accountability is like, it's a complicated and emotional beast for, humans and human nature. It's like, well, a good example of this is when you have children, somebody breaks something and, it's like, it's hidden somewhere. And then mom's like cleaning the living room and all of a sudden we find something broken. It's like under the couch cushion. And who broke the, XYZ, and everybody's like crickets. Is that accountability or is that a lack of accountability? Yes. So for me, and I have kids, so I'll sometimes use examples of kids, but it's only because they're the purest example of human motivation and behavior that we can get, because they haven't learned how to like mask it with pride and this whole, like, I'm a mature adult thing yet. Right. So it's very obvious, but we all have those same tendencies, even as adults. So, I actually love drawing it back to, how that works. So for me, accountability is in 2 parts. It's, yes, it has to be measurable. It has to be specific. You have to actually believe in yourself enough to hold yourself accountable to your own goals. And you have to give your coach permission to hold you accountable to those goals. Right? Otherwise, they're talking and you're kind of tuning out until they're done talking. And then there was no point to having a conversation around goals, was there? But if you've given your accountability partner permission or your coach permission to hold you accountable, then you can have really valuable personal development conversations around your goals and the activities needed to achieve your goals. So I love that correlation where it's like, well, I'm committed to myself, and so I'm accountable to myself. Ownership is a big part of that because you're owning your results, whether you fall short or whether you exceed or whether you meet, right? Because ultimately, whose behavior was it that got you to your result?
Ours.
Yes,
Ourselves. Yeah.
absolutely. It's our own. And that brings us back to that conversation when we were talking about the one thing that makes realtors really successful is lead generation. And someone said their limiting belief was like around dialing the phone and no one ever picking up. And so if no one ever picks up, how am I supposed to make a contact and count it as a contact, right? That could be a super easy excuse unless we've given ourselves and our coach permission to be accountable to our goals. And if our goal is around making contact with 10 people or 20 people a day, then we just keep going until those 10 or 20 people answer, right? No matter how long it takes.
Yeah.
Even if that's contacting 100 people.
Correct. Even if it's calling 100 people.
Yep.
And, you know, if like on days I've tried to do a bold 100 where you actually talk to 100 people and you're literally on the phone for like 8 or 10 hours. This is during bold. This is the fun thing about bold where you really, it's like accountability on steroids. So I'm on the phone for like 10 or 12 hours and I didn't get to 100, but in bold, you get to stand up in front of the whole group of people. If you talk to 100 people that day, like it's awesome. They're like cheering, they're giving you this special pin. Like it says bold 100 and everybody knows what that means when you wear the pin around. They're like, that person is a badass. They talk to 100 people a single day. Whoa. So anyway, I did all that. I did not get to 100 people. So I'm like, I abandoned the phone. I'm like, that's fine. I'm going to the mall. Like, I'm going to Walmart. I will talk to 100 people today. So anyway, that is a vision of accountability. And for me, I think the most important part is being accountable to myself for my own goals. Any questions so far? Awesome. Well, if we don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to catch up in my little instructor's manual book here. Page 15. Oh, let's actually review page 14. Can someone read? There's various types of engagement for class. One is called the prisoner, one is the vacationer, and one is the explorer. I would love a volunteer to read about the prisoner. Maybe someone who hasn't volunteered yet.
I can do it.
Okay, awesome.
I've got page 14. Which one did you say?
Yeah, the prisoner.
Okay, so the prisoner, it says, has to be there, doesn't want to be there, and doesn't know why they're there. The sort of bullet points below that says doesn't engage, spends class time catching up on their emails. It's awesome. Escapes by spending time in the hall or on their phone. Holds on to limiting beliefs. Multitasks on their computer by working on side projects. Picks fights with trainer or other participants if they don't agree.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So, okay, so the Zoom version of this, would be, it does not have their camera on at all during any part of the class. Let's see, spend time, oh, is checking your emails while you're on a Zoom call. Escape space, spending time in the hall or on their phone. Well, that's kind of part of having your camera turned on, is the permission that you give everyone else to hold you accountable to being present in class. Let's see, holds on to limiting beliefs, like, right, the negative Nancy. And I'm sure none of you are this. Like, we don't often get these people in class. Every once in a while we will. And everybody kind of knows who they are and like hopes that they don't participate very much, right?
Yeah.
Okay, who can read The Vacationer?
Sure, why not?
Awesome.
All right, Vacationer. A day in training is better than a day on the job.
Ah,
They spend as much time chatting as they do listening. They're there to have fun, to distract the class with irrelevant comments. They return late from break and lunch. They're not purposeful in their learning goals. Oh my God, spends the day on their smartphones, texting and checking Facebook, and isn't paying attention.
okay, I know we don't have any of these in here either. And if we did, it would be super hard to tell because we're all on Zoom. Unless you have the, I don't have the participation view where it like shows the grid. I actually really love that view, but I don't have it. So I'm just looking at the screen share. So you'll just have to hold yourself accountable to not be a vacationer in class. But it is kind of funny when there is one in real life and you can see them. Like last year in the third quarter, I did launch a class and there was definitely one person in the class who was a vacationer. She literally stepped outside to be on her phone like every 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And started out by talking on the phone without stepping outside.
So rude. Oh my God.
So if that's a thing, mute yourself before you take a phone call and turn your camera off so I don't know you're cheating. Okay. And who wants to read The Explorer?
I'll go ahead.
Alicia, go ahead.
The Explorer, excited and curious about the new knowledge, skills, and tools that they will discover in class, listens attentively, then participates fully in discussions and exercises, asks meaningful questions, and contributes compelling ahas, arrives to class on time and returns promptly from breaks, adopts a posture of acceptance, takes notes in their manual for future reference, and respects the different learning styles and opinions of others.
Awesome. Very good. So quick comment in the chat box, if you would, on what kind of a capper in training or training participant that you intend on being through this quarter's Ignite sessions. The prisoner, the vacationer, or the explorer? Explorer, good. From Elizabeth. Lean, explorer, good. Lots of explorers. I'm seeing lots of explorers. Explorer, excellent. Rob had okay, Rob. I would say explorer, but I have to keep my mic muted because I have a very vocal chat. Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I'm going to say explorer too as a teacher, but you know, you might see my kids pop in here and there.
Okay.
All right, excellent. Oh, good. So now we're talking about a little bit more about homework. In addition to the mission, there is this thing at the end of your books called an action reveal, and sometimes there will be a few additional items on that that may or may not be on your mission. So just like any good book, you know, you want to pay attention to the first chapter and the last chapter and whatever it says on Google about the book, right? That's the same with Ignite. You know, in the first few pages, it will give you like the outline of the entire what's in the book. You know, you want to keep your eye on that. And then in the last 3 or 4 pages of each session's manual are the most important action items. It will be your action reveal and your mission. And then while you're in class, because these classes are like very interactive and a lot of times there's time for lead generation built in and different activities built right into class. So there's some things that you want to bring with you every day when you sit down in front of your computer to do the Zoom. That would be note cards. Those are like your thank you cards. Did Mara talk to you guys about that yet as part of the daily 10-4?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I would just keep like, you know, build yourself a little station or whatever with, you know, everything you need to do with those 10 contacts. Have your Ignite page up on KW Connect in a back tab. Does everyone have a KW email address already? Just put a little thumbs up or say yes in the chat box if you already have your KW email.
If we do have it, is that something we need to use as our, since I already have a business email that I've already started getting a bunch of emails on? Do I need to use it? How does that go together?
That's a great question. Are you a new agent?
Yes, but I started with my team. I started a new agent email.
Are you on a team or are you an individual agent?
I'm on a team.
And did they give you a team email?
No, but my team leader helped me start mine.
Oh, I gotcha. And it's just like a regular Gmail account?
It's yeah.
Okay. What I would say is defer to your team leader if you're on a team, because they have their system set up in such a way that they've got whatever they do. And for all the solo agents in the room, having a KW email address will, you know, lend itself helpful, because in Command, if you are utilizing Command as your CRM, and at this point, I don't know why you wouldn't be, but it's very functional using a KW email address, and it's not nearly as functional to program it with a Gmail. So that's something they're working on building functionality into the future on, but right now, all of their processing power and all of those geniuses up there that write the software are putting all of their energy into those KW assets. So yes, having a KW email address for a solo agent is super important so that you can utilize the technology. And if you're on a team, the team may or may not have transitioned to Command yet. And they may be using other software. So if your team leader has set you up with an email address, then that's the one you want to use. Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so there are some videos today before we get into the big why, and I'm sure I have the link in my email, so you might give me a minute to figure out how to share that with you. The videos are, what is the one way Gary Keller says it takes to achieve success in real estate? What are some of the habits of high performing agents? And what are the ahas about KW technology? Okay, bear with me. I'm gonna grab this and go to my video link, and then we're gonna watch a short video together. Can you guys see my email inbox right now? Or do you still see the slides?
Black screen.
Chat.
Sorry, what is it?
It's dark.
It's dark. Okay. All right, it's dark. So I hope this works. I'm going to try to get this video loaded and have you watch it. accept cookies. Stop share. Share content. Website URL. Oh, there we go. Let's try that. Copy. Okay. So here is the Gary Keller videos. We're not going to be able to load, but I do have a URL that I will share with you 3 activities from now about the Scripps video, because I have the tools that it takes to be able to share that video in class. These other ones, I apologize, but I do not. So we're just going to move forward into our next activity if everyone's okay with that.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So let me go back to sharing content. A little bit clunky, but we're getting there. Share screen. Open in Zoom. Is that going to work?
Yay.
All right. Now I just got to get back to our spot. Okay. So it'll be a little bit clunky. So when we end up doing the video next, when we get to the section around Scripps, like, you'll just have to bear with me because it'll take me a minute to transition from one screen share to the other. But let's do the activity on page 19 about your big why. Um, 19, there's 18. Know your big why and your monetary goals. Who would like to read page 19 for me?
I'll go.
Jessica? Okay, great.
Oh, can you, I don't know if I'm able, I turned my video on, but is it working?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. Know your big why and monetary goals. What drives you is not only your mindset and attitude, but what you're passionate about. What stirs your soul? Why are you in the business? What do you hope to achieve for yourself and your family? The answers to these questions are the basis for your big why. And to fuel that big why will take money and income goal. To achieve success, you need motivation and inspiration by doing it. Your big why. Passion for your big why. Anyone can achieve the goals set in this course, but not everyone will. The journey requires discipline and a commitment to follow models, systems, and a schedule every day. It requires passion towards something bigger than the task at hand. Your big why. First, have a big why built around your passion. Then follow the models you'll learn in this course. Keep doing it, and you will achieve grand success. Passion for big why plus follow the models plus time on task over time equals success.
Absolutely. And Jessica, there's an equation at the bottom of the page, and when you read it, what does that mean to you?
So you have to have a reason why you're doing what it is you're doing,
Right.
so that it is natural and it gives you the fuel to want to keep doing whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
If it makes you miserable, if it just you're not happy doing it, then it's something that a business you shouldn't be in, because you may not be successful, because when you're passionate about something, it comes natural. And it's taken me 38 years to finally find something that where I feel happy. I'm a new agent.
Yay.
However, I never feel like I'm working when I'm helping clients or calling people or engaging. So I think most important is, like, I guess if it's natural and you enjoy it and you are having a good time, then it will be a success.
I like it. Thank you. And do you mind if I give you another perspective as well?
Of course.
Awesome. How many of you have like learned a new thing and found that it was really awkward at first? Like it kind of made you feel like not doing it at all because it didn't feel like it was right when you were doing it. Anybody have that experience?
Sure.
Thumbs up. Or yeah, like probably all of us, right? If we are brave enough to try something new. A lot of times when you're first trying something new, it feels really awkward. And as a human, what's our first response to feeling awkward?
To not do it.
To not do it. Okay. And I think that speaks to why there's such a huge level of or dropout rate, or a level of defeat, like in the real estate industry as a whole. Is not necessarily that every single person who got into it wasn't meant to be a realtor, but like maybe they just felt too awkward doing what it took to get the business, and they didn't allow themselves the permission to be awkward while they were learning, right?
Right.
Sure.
Like, and Jessica, if you are new and you are not feeling awkward and you're feeling amazing and it's like coming very natural to you, like that is awesome. And
well, I am certainly awkward. I mean, it's awkward and I'm uncomfortable, but that's more because I don't know enough and I'm learning, and I get awkward and uncomfortable because I don't have the knowledge base and the experience. Right. But once I get there, I love the engagement part of the business and providing people with information and being a resource for them. That comes natural for me, but I need the tools first. And so I'm certainly, when I think I was stalling on contacting customers expireds, and I wanted to focus in on expireds, and my husband's like, you just need to call, because I was reading all these scripts and trying to figure out how am I gonna, if I get an objection, what am I gonna say? But really, and he gave me the best advice, just jump in and see what they're asking. And it's gonna be weird, it's gonna be uncomfortable, and it certainly was. But I'm getting over it every day that I do it. So
awesome. Yes. Just awesome. Just awesome. So I do want to encourage all of you that it does get easier and better. I lost my page. We were on 19, right? My phone just flipped back to page 9.
Page 16?
16.
Big Y.
19 is the one she just read.
19. There we go. So yeah, I just wanted to refer back to this. So your passion for your big why, plus follow the models, which you guys are all learning in class, plus time on task over time equals success. So yes, this is an equation and there's a whole lot of activities in each of these boxes, but to simplify it, the passion for your big why, and the reason it shows up at the end of this arrow that's moving and pushing everything forward, is it is the one thing that will help you actually continue to move forward in spite of the time on the task and following models that you're not totally comfortable with, while you get comfortable with them, right? So being able to identify and really like connect with your why is, I think, probably the most important thing in real estate. Has nothing to do with selling a house. Has everything to do with knowing why in the heck am I doing this, right? And for me, I'll tell you a little story about my big why. My big why is my kids. That's a really simple thing to say, but it's a whole complicated mess on why my big why is my kids. And I will tell you over time, like your big why can change. Mine certainly is and will continue to change as I do better and better in real estate. But when I first started, I had definitely not reached my financial goals in life. I felt like we were still living paycheck to paycheck and just barely getting by. And, you know, I had worked my way through college, having 2 kids, and I was even pregnant with one of them while I was getting my master's degree. And it was just this long road where I was like, if I can just finish college, I know I'm going to do better, you know, for my kids and for my life. And that was born out of a whole situation where when I was raised by a single mom. We never had much of anything. She definitely did the best she could with what she had, but we were poor. Super poor. And in fact, before my mom became a single mom, when her and my dad were still together, it was all kinds of dysfunctional, enough to where we found ourselves living in the woods in a tent. Like we did not even have a house to live in. So for me, my whole mission in life has always been do better for my kids than my parents were able to do for me and give them a head start in life. And the amazing thing about my real estate career, at least for my kids, and I will never forget kind of when the flip switched and the script in our household started switching. You know, my first year in real estate, I didn't close a lot of deals. I closed 12 deals. I made a decent amount of revenue, 70 grand about, but I had spent almost every bit of that reinvesting back into my business to grow it. And it was a painful year for us because we felt broker than we had ever been in our lives. And I had promised my kids it would be better like when we started. So it was a tough year because a lot of those conversations, they were like, you said it would be better and it feels worse. And I'm like, I know it feels worse, but it's going to get better. I promise. And then my business doubled the next year.
I can do both.
Again. And getting connected to that why, making sure my kids were what was in front of my eyes every day to push me towards achieving my goal.
Yep. I'm that guy. So I can do it either way. But I'd like to provide the equipment. Sorry.
You mute yourself. Awesome. Sorry, guys. Anyway, being able to keep that kind of vision in front of my own eyes through the first couple of years, which were like, you know, it's hard building your own business and growing it and seeing those changes take place. And it's time at the task over time that equals success. But some days, especially like when you're waiting for that deal to close and the cupboards are looking pretty bare, it's your big why that's going to push you to be like, all right, this is what I'm doing today. This is why I'm doing it. And ultimately, like, I will get there. So I just want to encourage you guys that having a big why is so, so important to your success. And also don't feel bad if your big why is like not having starving children. That was just born out of my own, like, you know, meager beginnings. But, you know, over the past several years, I've been in real estate for 4 years now. And the last 2 years has been amazing for my family. You know, we've bought a house, we've paid off cars. The kids have like the full sports package. Well, pre-COVID, but they do sports every quarter. Like all of the awesome, like warm and fuzzy, like, yes, I'm raising kids and they're doing extracurriculars and they're like, you know, planning for the future. And if they want to go to the store and get, you know, a Nerf gun, like I can get them a Nerf gun because I have enough extra money to do that. So it's awesome. I love it. Like, I'm so excited and thrilled. And my kids, like, just being able to see how it's changed their mindset about what they can achieve in their lives. It's so amazing to see and to know that I've been a part of developing this winning mindset in my kids. Believe me, I had so many limiting beliefs to get past before I felt like I can totally be a winner here. Like, that whole reframing is not the easiest thing to do when you've come from defeat after defeat in your life.
Yeah.
And I feel super good about my kids feeling like they have a head start on that, right? Because they believe in themselves and they believe things are possible because they've seen their mama do it. So anyway, big whys are awesome. That's all I have to say about that. And don't feel bad if your big why is a boat. Like, if that's what you're passionate about and you're part of a boat club, like, do that. And don't feel bad if your big why is not about financial or monetary goals at all, but more about, you know, doing a nonprofit organization or changing a part of your world. It can be anything. So let's go to page 21. And we are going to begin to work through this activity. And it will help you kind of flesh out your big why. So let's start there, page 21, and just answer the questions. Again, if you have a digital version of this workbook, just do this on paper. What is or was your driving motivation? The why or goal for a career in real estate? Like, what gave you the idea? And what will achieving your goal mean for you? In what ways will your life change if you achieve your goal? What doors will open for you? So we're going to take about 5 minutes to fill out this first page on page 21. Please give me a thumbs up or a done in the chat box, and I'll know when we can progress forward. Oh, I muted myself. Oops. Maybe about 2 more minutes on this part, and remember to tell me you're all done when you're all done so we know when to move forward, okay?
I was gonna ask if
Okay. So now let's go to the next page and you can continue working through. Some of you who are like those high motivated people may have already started working on the next page, and that's just fine with me. But for those who have not, we're starting to flesh out the big why. And now it's saying basically kind of to take some of that information on the previous page and try to write a statement that summarizes your big why. And what I will tell you about this process is try to dig deep here. And sometimes you have to go back to that first page and rework some of your answers, because a lot of times, like, we will not admit to ourselves what is actually driving our behavior in life. And, you know, sometimes we just are like, well, I couldn't get a job anywhere else, so I decided I'd try real estate because it was only $1,000 and I didn't have to actually interview for a job. You know, like that was a terrible example, but
I was gonna say getting a license is so much harder than interviewing for a job.
I've been there, girl. I know. 150 hours of just absolute. So, yes, but anyway, dig deep. If it's not making you a little bit emotional when you're answering the questions, you probably haven't quite hit it yet. And then start to formulate your answer based on that. And thank you very much. While you guys are working on this, I am going to turn my video off because I'm actually moving from the office in my truck to the office in my house.
Crack me up.
Okay, can someone be a huge help to me? Because I cannot see myself on camera. Can you see my face?
Yes.
Am I showing? Awesome. Okay, good. I had to move back in the house because my battery was going on me and I didn't want to lose ya. So I have my AirPod Pros in. They have really good noise canceling from what I've heard here. And it should drown out any dogs or kids or husbands that you may hear in the background. We will see. Please let me know if my audio cuts out or if you can't hear me or understand me, because I want to make sure to fix that before I move forward. All right. So what did you guys think about this exercise, and who is still working on it and needs more time?
I'm still working.
Okay, feel free. I'm not going to rush you through it. Yep, one more minute. Sounds like several of you would like just a few more minutes, so no problems there. Okay. So we are going to go ahead and move forward past this activity, but I would like to encourage you, if you did not quite finish up, or you did finish, but it's just not really resonating with you yet, it's okay, like continue to rework this. When I was new to Keller Williams, I did this Big Y exercise in this very class. And I can remember the teacher who was teaching me, his name is Devin Thiel. He's one of our top agents in our office as well. And I shared my Big Y with him, and he said, of course, he asked permission to coach me, so I wasn't completely embarrassed in front of the class, but he said, you know, that's not going to serve you well. He just called it. He was like, that is not going to serve you well. Like, you need to figure out what your real why is. And I got frustrated, of course, because I'm the one that likes to be like, keeping on time and on task and checking the boxes and getting everything done. And here I was, like, I had done the activity, and he was just like, okay, well, whatever you think, but on the days when you don't feel very good and you still need to lead generate for 4 hours, is that going to be enough to get you out of bed? So I want you to ask yourself that question, you know, as we go through this and to revisit this. It actually took me a good 90 days to really dial in on my big why. And I can remember going to Devon Thiel after class, and it wasn't right after this class. It was actually a few weeks later, after I had stewed on it and like gotten even pissier, that I went to him and I was like, can I take you out for lunch or something? Because I really need to have like another conversation around this whole big why thing. Really not getting, you know, dialing in. And it was in that couple of hour conversation with him over lunch that I realized where my real drive was coming from. And I think he said one of the most powerful things that I've probably ever heard in my life. And it was probably not even on purpose, because if any of you have met Devon or get the opportunity to meet him, you'll find out right away he's a pretty hilarious person. And he's also a really direct communicator. But I don't think he intended to say anything ground check to me, but it just happened to hit me in the right, you know, sideways with my guard down. And he said, sometimes we're running away from pain as much as we are running towards pleasure. And that's where mine's born. And I didn't realize it. I'm also not a very emotional person. Like, I don't like getting super emotional about stuff. I like, you know, to play it cool. So, when he said that to me, I was able to actually put my guard down long enough to realize, yeah, I'm spending a big portion of my life running away from a pain that was very real from my childhood. And it gave me permission to really write it down and be okay with the pain and be okay wanting something different for my family and my life. So do give yourself an opportunity to be emotional and to get in touch with your emotions. I'm not a counselor. I will not pretend to know anything about mental health, but I will say, like, sometimes we just need to connect with whatever it is, pain, pleasure, whatever's going to move you. You do need to take some time to get there. Fair enough?
Shauna, do you mind sharing? I'm really curious, and it's okay if you don't want to share, but what your original goal was that you were coached out of? I'm really curious.
Yes. Well, my original goal that I was coached out of was totally monetary, because I am, whatever side of your brain thinks about numbers and math and being practical and realistic, like that's kind of like, that is me. I'm not thought of as a big dreamer. Like, no one would ever meet me and be like, she's a dreamer. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? They'd be like, yeah, she's a nerd. She's a math geek, whatever. But so for me, it was like $100,000. Like, and I couldn't perceive making that amount of income. Like, I thought, I will have arrived. If I'm making $100,000 a year in real estate, I will have arrived. And he was right that goal would not serve me well, because it didn't take me more than 2 years to reach that goal. And then what happens when you reach it? Like, what happens now that you're making $100,000? You know, there has to be something bigger that informs your decisions. And for me, it was my kids. And so, you know, now I know where to put the dollars that I'm earning. You know what I mean? Like, we want to save X amount for college. We want to invest X amount, build the portfolio, like, you know, do that, pay off the mortgage sooner rather than later. So, you know, we're paying an extra $700 a month on our mortgage payment, like those things, because your emotional why will actually inform your decisions around everything else in your life. Not just, do I do my lead generation today or not, but also, once you do receive the income goal that you have, what do I do with it? So Does that answer your question?
Yeah, totally. Because I'm the same way when it comes to, well, I mean, I probably am a dreamer, but I've been in sales a long time. So I tend to be monetary with my goals. So it's really helpful that you shared that. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm totally monetary with my goals. I'm very much like, even when I do my business planning every year, I do plan around volume, because then I know that my commissions are based on a percentage of volume. And I know every house sells for a different price. So I don't even plan for how many units. I'm just planning around volume and a monetary goal. And I know approximately how many units based on an average sales price. And those are all very measurable, monetary, not warm and fuzzy at all. You just know when you arrived because you've arrived, and it is what it is. But I think taking that very measurable goal and giving it a relationship with your big why is the absolute thing that drives us to achieve our goals. So, okay. So it's 2:49. We've got about an hour and 15 minutes left of this particular class. Does anyone have any questions so far? Does anyone need a bathroom break or a snack break?
Yes.
I thought that might be a thing. So let's do
Oh,
this.
that's good.
Everyone has permission to mute yourself and turn off your video for the next 10 minutes. We will come back and start at 3 o'clock, and we're gonna really bust through the last portion of this class, because we've spent quite a bit of time, around the housekeeping of homework and how does it work and how the binders work. And then of course, lots of time on the big why, because it's really the most important thing. So at 3 o'clock, we'll be back to finish up. You guys go ahead and take your time and go to the restroom, get a snack, get a drink of water. Okay. So we are back. It's 3 o'clock. Favor, just so that I know everybody's back, go ahead and pop a back into the chat box, or a hi, or a what's up. Perfect. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Rob, I had like 3 handfuls of Cheez-Its and I regret nothing. Same, 3 handfuls of French fries and I also regret nothing. Okay, wonderful. Everybody's back. All right. So, monetary goal. Okay, do this for me just so I have an idea of the room. If you are not an active PC coaching client, but you're like on a team or doing something else and you're just here for only the Ignite classes, but not the PC classes in between, put a little heart sign in the chat box so I can tell how many people are just here for Ignite and have not got the planning portion of orientation.
What's PC?
Productivity coaching, as in your new agent coach. So if you know you have a coach and her name is Mara, or his name is Matt, or her name is Shauna, then you know, you will have done business planning in the previous 2 sessions. If not, then not. I have Matt as a coach. Okay, perfect. Okay, so a couple of you have not done business planning, but for the majority of you, you have. You've taken a look at your 135 and your 411, and you have an idea of the economic model. So you're a little bit ahead of the game. In this session, there you'll see like a little worksheet. It's on page 23. Where it talks about your monetary goal. Now that you know your big why, what will it take to fund your life and your big why? Write your annual monetary goal down here. Stick it in that little box. And it wants you to have an idea now about commissions and as a percentage of volume and what that means for an actual paycheck. What we call GCI, which is gross commission earned, is essentially, it's so if you've been in the business world and you know the difference between revenue and profit, like your GCI is technically your revenue that you're generating, right? And then the splits come off, and you split royalty and all of that come off of there. And then your check that you receive from the market center is your gross income. That's kind of like also revenue in a way, and it depends on how you're doing your books. So if you're a sole proprietor, then I don't know if you guys can see my dog, but she's bugging me. Willow off. So but if you're like an yeah, go ahead.
When they ask what taxes and expenses, is there like a average number for taxes that we should be figuring if we're independent contractors? Like 15%, 16%, 25%. I mean,
I would set 30% aside just to be safe. And it's a little bit of a dance, with you record business expenses and kind of and dance around that. They're going to be charging you your taxes based on your profit.
Okay. So does the AGI then include that 30% of taxes, the total number?
The GCI?
The CGI, yeah. GCI.
Yeah, the GCI does not include taxes having been taken out yet. That's just the big number at the top.
Okay.
And what I would say for your annual monetary goal is that should be your profit number. Like that will be the number after taxes, after splits, after everything, like what money that you actually have to use for a purpose do you need? And that should probably be your monetary goal for the year. That's your profit number. And then
So you're saying
GCI is
GCI.
is the money
I'm sorry,
that like
so you're saying
Nuri, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So you're saying the GCI is before taxes, which is the growth income / revenue. So you're considering it?
Yes. And it's actually the gross commission. The reason why we call it gross commission is because sometimes it can be confusing because you feel like your gross is actually the check you get from the market center. But that number is actually a little bit smaller because the market center takes out their fees and then cuts you a check. So your GCI, the simplest way to think about this is if you sell a house and you charge the seller 6% and you're paying a buyer's agent 3%, whoever brings the buyer, then you're splitting that 6% 2 ways. Buyer's agent gets 3, you get 3. So if the house you're selling is $200,000 and you're keeping 3% of the commission, then the commission, the GCI, is $6,000. And that's what the title company will send to the market center. And then the market center will give it. Normally that's a 70-30 split. If you're on a team, it looks a little different. But they'll do their thing and take all the different splits and put the money where in the different buckets where it's supposed to go. And then they'll cut you a check or deposit it.
I have a question regarding the GCI and the splits.
Yeah.
So what number do they use when, let's say the 6,000 and 30% goes to KW, and then you have your, it's 3% for royalty, and then your percentage to your brokerage, or I'm sorry, your principal, sorry, your coach, your productivity coach. Do they, all three of those, is it taken out of the 6,000, or do they take the 6,000 and then deduct the 30%, and then whatever that amounts, whatever that number is, then the 3% is taken out of that, and then whatever that number is, the
I get you what you're saying, Jessica. So you're wondering, are the fees taken all based on a percentage of GCI, or are they taken like a waterfall?
Right.
Like whatever's left over gets the next percentage. And the answer is, to the best of my knowledge, I don't do the books at Keller Williams, but they're all taken as a percentage of GCI. I'm quite certain they are. So.
It would, like if I took, let's say, the productivity coach fee, 15%, if I took that from 6,000, that would be more if I were to take it after the 30% was taken out. So.
Yeah, so it's all calculated. I'm like 99.9% sure, but if you have any questions, you can reach out to your MCA of your market center because they do the books. It will be taken as a percentage of GCI off the top.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Okay, so that's an example of how you kind of get to your monetary goal. And there's a worksheet on page 24 that you can use to do some quick math. If you take the average sales price and the average commission rate, and you multiply that out, it'll give you your average commission. So this will be different. And I think we've got agents from all over. Some of you are in Portland, some of you are in Eugene, you're in Salem. So the average sales price for those markets are all different. Like I think Portland's median sales price is right around 420,000, right in there. Salem's is going to be closer at 320, 330 mark. And I'm not positive on Eugene. I think probably pretty close to like 350, 365. And it probably depends on the area around Eugene. You know, if you're in the city or near the university, it'd be higher, and then as you get more rural, probably a little bit lower. So it all depends on where you're going to be focusing and doing your business. And you can find those average sales prices by going to the MLS or the RMLS and pulling the statistical reports, or just simply showing up for that once a month Zoom call with Chris Suarez, because he actually goes over
Yeah.
all of that on the Wednesday morning call.
That's
So,
okay.
and what I would say to play it safe, because you'll represent, like, you're going to take listings and you'll take listings at whatever percentage you can negotiate with the seller, but the industry average is right around 6%. And you'll also represent buyers. And unless you're signing exclusive buyer service agreements, which we teach you how to do and how to have those conversations, unless you're consistently signing those agreements at 3% and making your clients aware that they make up the difference in cash for what the listing agent pays you, then you will have fluctuation on what percentage you're getting paid based on each individual listing. And you can see that on the agent full detail, that this one pays 2%, this one is 2.5%, this one's 3%, and they're different as things go on. So that will fluctuate. The way I normally do my business planning is I go ahead and multiply the volume, like average sales price, by 2.75. That way, if I do end up getting a little smaller commission than 3% here and there, I'm not going to throw my goals off drastically
Yeah,
by
that's what
not.
Mara did too.
Yeah.
Mara suggested
Perfect.
that as well.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So that's how you do that. Feel free to work through that worksheet. You can see on page 25 example here about your GCI goal, and then how the market center cap comes off of that. And it kind of helps you to reverse engineer, like, how many transactions you'll need. If you know what your net goal is, and you know, I actually go a step further, and I'm always like goaling well, I want to know how much money I actually have, not what I'm going to be paying in taxes. So I'll like do my goal, $100,000, add 30% for taxes, then add the $23,000 for the market center cap, and then divide it by the average commission per transaction, and that'll give me the unit goal. Does that make sense?
Say that one more time.
So in this example, it gives you A, B, C, D, and E.
Yep.
Which is your net GCI goal, which is cap is removed. B is what the market center cap is. And so you can whatever your cap is. Huh?
You're buffering.
I'm sorry, it's because I'm getting phone calls that are like disrupting my video. I just pushed them off. So you have your net income goal. In this example, it's 100,000. Then they add 23,000 to it, A plus B, which gives you that GCI goal.
Yeah.
For me, I always add 30% to that A number.
Uh-huh.
And that equates for taxes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So it would be like, if your goal is 100,000, maybe it's more like 133,000 plus the market center cap of 23,000.
Okay.
Then that gives you that C.
Okay.
And then they're telling you that the average commission per transaction is $6,000 or whatever it happens to be. And that's your average sales price times.
Oh, sorry.
Who was that asking the
That's
question?
Elizabeth.
It's totally okay. Hi.
Hi, I'm trying to figure out how this applies to me, because I believe our cap may be different because I'm part of a team. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes, your cap is different because you're part of a team. And what market center are you in, Eugene?
No, Sunset Corridor.
Okay, so this will look different for you. What I would do instead of like doing the exercise now is go back to your team leader or your director of operations, whoever's coaching you, and tell them like, hey, I was working through an Ignite, and to do the financial goals part, they are having me calculate my cap, because your cap is probably like $5,000 or 7,500 or something like that. It's a smaller amount.
9. Yeah.
9. Okay. So So your cap is 9,000 and you have team splits that are different than the market center splits. So
If they're 50-50,
if they're 50-50,
yeah, does that go in near royalty? Where does that go?
that is a super good question, which I cannot answer for you because I've always been a solo agent. But what I can tell you is this exercise works for team agents and solo agents. You just need to take it back to your team person and say, how do I plug these numbers in to make it make sense so I know how many units that I need?
So he helped me already. So I just wanted to, I was just trying to understand it instead of just copy what he said. So that's why I was asking, but I actually have that so I can do the next exercises.
Oh, good.
I was
Excellent.
lost. I was lost when we were doing this with Mara 2 days ago because I didn't have.
Oh, good. So yeah, what I would do is just using my best amount of logic around it. If your annual net GCI goal is probably where I would put that. And you know how I added 30% for taxes?
Yeah.
Well, what you're going to do is you're going to double the number. So like if you want to make $100,000, well, then you're going to double that to 200,000. And then you're going to add 30%. And then you're going to add your cap, which is $9,000. And then you'll divide that by the average commission, and that will give you the units. Seems like that would be the way to do it to me.
That sounds good. I like that.
Cool.
Thank you.
So your units will be higher. Like if you want to make $100,000 and you're on a team, you'll have to close more units. But great thing about that for teams is they have a lead gen model in place. And so like as you're converting your sphere of influence and getting your units that you contribute to the team, like they're also giving you leads. And that's how you can close more deals because you actually have 2 lead gen sources now. It's not just you making your own thing, like you're getting some leads from the team too. So
thank you.
Yep. Okay. 26. How many transactions will it take? So, and that's good. Then commit to daily lead generation. Okay, so here's what I will tell you is you can work this and rework it as many times as you need to finalize your monetary goal. And I might just make a note that this, section from page 23 to 26 would be a good thing to revisit. You can also reach out to your coach individually and get, we have a very helpful tool that's in Excel. It's an MREA business planning worksheet where you can kind of plug in some of the numbers and a lot of this stuff like does the math and auto populates for you. That's kind of nice.
Where's that, Shauna?
For the Salem coaching clients, I've created a shareable Google Drive. So for everyone in Salem, you can go to the Google Drive link and it's in the business planning folder. And then for you guys who are in Eugene and Portland, just reach out to Matt or Mara and ask them for the digital file. It's called, I think it's called the MREA business planning worksheet.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. And let's see here. So now we're on to lead generation. Can anyone go ahead and read out loud the quote from Gary Keller that's here on this slide that we're staring at?
I'll read it.
Awesome.
For every day you don't lead generate, 90 days later, you can expect no money. You don't want this to happen.
Yeah, it's like the most kind of facetious statement on the planet, but like
bottom line.
So is the bottom line. So it's a good thing to remind yourself, like if you decide, well, I'm not going to do it today, you could just be like, all right, well, 90 days from this day, I will not be closing any transactions. Okay, so page 28, let's go there. How long on average does it take to get a buyer or seller to sign a contract for a sale or a listing? Anybody have an idea?
Are you talking about a purchase and sale agreement?
I'm talking about any contract. So, and essentially, yes, you're right. How do I pronounce your first name?
Nasim.
Nasim. That's what I was gonna say, but I didn't want to say it wrong. Thank you. Nasim, yes, it's either going to be a residential real estate sales agreement, or it's going to be a buyer representation agreement, or it's going to be a listing contract. Those are basically the three, levers that are the start to any transaction. So it's an agreement to do business with you.
I guess then another follow-up question on the question is this question saying from the first time you meet this individual that you're trying to sign a contract with, or from, considering that you haven't qualified them as a lead at that point, or are you saying from the time they are a qualified lead, or?
I would say it's from the time that you reach out and make first contact with them. So that's before you qualify the lead. And I think it kind of depends on, what type of lead generation you're doing too, because sometimes it's cold calling and sometimes you're calling your Uncle Joe, So, but any guess? I heard someone say 90 days. Does anyone have any other?
I think 90 days sounds good for a first contact, first time you reach out.
Yeah, that sounds good. The book, there is a right answer to this. The book says it's 1 to 60 days, and it kind of depends, right? It doesn't really depend on you all that much, except for consistent follow-up, because if you make contact with someone on the first day and they're like, yeah, I might be getting ready to do that eventually. And so you put them on a list of people to call back, but it's like on a sticky note and it gets lost, and it's like, on the passenger side floorboard of your car, and you never actually call them back. And then 60 days later, you remember you put their name on that list. And so you call Uncle Joe, but he's just listed with, the Benson Broker Group instead, because you never called him back. So it is 1 to 60 days. The book says it depends on how much time you put into lead generation every day and how many appointments you go on to close. But essentially, in the beginning of your business, it's between 1 and 60 days to get your first contract signed. Now, the goal of Ignite and the productivity coaching program is to get you in a signed contract in the first 2 weeks. That's like shrinking that timeline down.
Yeah.
But do you think it's the class that shrinks the timeline magically somehow, or is it the student and their activities that shrinks the timeline?
Activities.
Both. Who said that? Was that Alicia? Both. Why'd you say both?
Well, for me, it's you have to have the activities, and you have to have the conversations and the ideas and the ahas and the structure and the going over the models and all of the things that help you develop and to put your actions and figure out what your actions are going to be.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, we're on a path together, and you don't know what you don't know until you sit in front of a presentation that tells you just exactly how much you didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And it's what challenges you to move forward in a different way. And that's where the rubber meets the road, right?
Consistent accountability.
Yes, absolutely. So good. And then how long does it take for a transaction to close and for you to get paid once you have that contract signed?
Like
45 days?
45 to 60 days.
Yeah, that's a pretty good guesstimate. It's 30 and 60 days. And I think it depends on the loan product and the client, right? Again, we're dealing with people and their lives, but on average, we're talking about 30 to 60 days. Once you've got something under contract from that moment, which is a signed residential sales agreement, or if you're repping the seller, you receive a sales agreement that then puts you in a binding contract. Then your time clock starts and you're 30 to 60 days out from a paycheck. Absolutely. And how quickly do you want to get paid? Or a better question, how long can you go without getting a payday?
Depends.
Well, how about for you personally?
For me, I need a paycheck at least once a month. So I would like to have a transaction consistently set to close once a month. It would be great if I could have two.
Yeah. Okay. Great answer. Anybody else in a position where they can go 30, 60, 90 days without getting paid from like right now, for example?
Yeah, I was
Oh,
told
good.
you're supposed to be prepared for that when you get into it.
Good. So you've got some savings set aside. That's good.
Well, I've also kept a second job. I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that happens too. I can tell you when I started in real estate, I leaped in with both feet. I quit my other job and I was doing real estate 100%, but I was definitely not in a position to be without a paycheck for very long. So yes, it is a very good idea to have 3 to 6 months of savings. But if you happen to be the one person in this training class that's in the position where you're like, well, I could probably make it 30 days, but 60 is pushing it. Well, that's okay because you can get a closed transaction by then. And the one part of the equation that makes the hugest part of difference is the volume of people that you talk to and the hours spent lead generating to get to the appointments and the signed contracts. So you could ignore every single thing else in your business except for lead generation for the next 30 days and build yourself a pretty healthy pipeline of business. And once you have the transactions going, then you can start putting in systems and processes to support growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Okay, so regarding lead generation, with Daily 10-4, I know that you've gone over that if you were a PC coaching client, but we'll go ahead and go over it real quick together in this class for those of you who are joining. It is 10 new contacts added to your database every day, speaking with 10 people, and writing 10 notes. When you're first getting started, it's pretty easy to knock this out because the 10 that you talk to are not yet in your database. So then you add them and you write the same 10 notes to the people you talk to. So it's all group, into one little, package, and then previewing 10 homes in person weekly. As you continue on in, lead generation, you've been doing it for months, this will look different because you'll have people in your database. And now the goal will be to add 10 new people to your database, speak with 10 existing people in your database, and write 10 notes. So then it kind of doubles and gets bigger. And what I will say at this point, there is one, huge difference between, we had the conversation about what makes a successful agent and what makes everyone else. And for those of you who are new, Keller Williams has an award for Rookie of the Year, and there's a huge difference between what makes a Rookie of the Year and everyone else, and that is that they probably don't set their goal to 10 contacts a day. Do you think it's higher or lower than that?
Higher.
Higher, absolutely. So I don't limit yourself by only doing 10. If you feel like 10 is a small number and you can do more, set your goal higher and hold yourself accountable to your goal, because that really will get you the results that you're looking for. So, all right. Also, Ignite My Tracker is where you can record your daily 10-4s. And if you need a quick way to access the My Tracker, just go to that kwtechhelp.com website under Ignite, and there's a link to the tracker there. Come on. There we go. Okay. So sales language. This is where we get into the conversation about scripts. Oh, and where I have to show you that video. So I'm going to stop this share and go into the video. How to use scripts. This is the one. And share a website. See if this works. A resource could not be loaded because the app transport security policies require the use of a secure connection.
What does that mean?
Dang it. Okay, let me try this a different way. I think what it means is that you have to sign in. You have to sign in to KW Connect to watch the video. Okay, so here is I'm going to do this. Everyone turn off your video sharing and mute your mics. I'm going to paste the link to this video into the chat and I want you to click it. You just sign into KW Connect and it will load the video. You watch it independently and then we'll be right back here to discuss it. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Good.
I don't think I have an access to that yet.
You don't have access to KW Connect yet, like with a username and password?
No,
Did
I
you, do you have your KW email address yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I'm still waiting on my license from the agency.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm so sorry to have to do this workaround, but for those of you who do have the sign in, use this link, and I apologize for not being able to figure out my screen share during this class. So for you though, copy and paste this URL onto like your notebook or somewhere where you are keeping notes and go back to it as soon as you get your sign in information. Okay.
Okay, I will.
Sorry.
That's okay. I just wasn't realized that I have so many other like options. Cannot do it yet.
What market center will you be in?
Sunset Corridor.
Okay, I want you to call Sunset Corridor at the end of today's class and see if there's any way they can get you your sign-in information before you are licensed.
Okay, I'll talk to Matt.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Nuri.
Anytime. Sorry, I didn't realize that I have other stuff. I cannot do it yet.
It's okay.
I'm in KW Connect and I'm missing where I need to find the video.
So if you paste the link into your browser now that you've signed in, it will probably take you directly to the video now that you've signed in one time.
Okay.
So try that and see if that helps.
I'm going to paste it into the search engine part.
You are going to want to paste it right into your web browser, like web address part.
Oh, okay.
Is anyone else having trouble finding the video?
No,
Yeah,
it's on the link. All you have to do is click on the link and it'll take you right to it.
There you go.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So let me go back to my sharing. Hopefully. So while I'm doing this, while I'm setting up my screen share again, why don't you guys tell me what you thought about the video? What ahas struck you from the video?
I'll speak up.
Go ahead.
I know one of my things is to listen and talk less. And I think the mirroring part as well, like matching their energy, you know, fast, slow, mellow, excited. So that's really helpful to me personally.
Great.
I love the question, what takes you there? I thought was, I hadn't heard that follow-up question yet. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's very good. Anybody else? Anything strike you as important? Like, go ahead.
One thing I struggle with is asking questions. I tend to want to chat, and I'm trying to teach myself to start asking questions, open-ended questions, so that I could get to a place where hopefully I'm serving the customer's needs with selling or finding a home. So I thought it was interesting to see all the questions coming out of the guy's mouth. So I could think of that when I'm on the phone with a potential client to ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. And I mean, what would be the negative consequence of not actually learning to overcome your difficulty with asking questions, as far as maybe from the client's perspective? If the realtor is not asking enough questions, what happens?
It's about you, not them.
Well, you don't show that you're
interested to talk to you.
You don't care.
Yeah.
Right. It may come off like you don't care. Even if you're a very caring person and you chit chat and they feel like you care, like maybe it comes off like you're just not very professional.
Yeah.
Or an unforeseen consequence may be if you're not utilizing your scripts to ask the appropriate questions at the appropriate times, What happens when you get into contract with a client and something goes totally sideways and you're like, what? I had no idea, you know, XYZ PDQ. And the client's like, yeah, XYZ PDQ. I can't believe this is happening. And then you think then to yourself, boy, if we had sat down at the beginning of this and I had asked you that question, I could have done something to prevent this situation from happening. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like if they need to be in Toledo by November 17th, well, that's going to speak to a whole lot of actionable items during that transaction and that process, right? It'll speak to price, timeline, you know, you're not going to be able to price it too high because it can't sit on the market. It's got to sell right away.
Well, something they say in
So-
bold is finding out their motivation is key to know how to push the right conversation and the right.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So practicing scripts, if you guys, well, before we turn to page 41, I would like to have a conversation around how to appropriately learn scripts, right? Page 39. And do you guys all have the link to Matt's script practice at in the morning, the early morning? I think it's at 8.
No.
Okay. You should be able to get that link from, like, what link? Oh, okay. This is an opportunity. So I think, but I'm going to double check for you so I'm not misinforming you. Everyone, please do this in the background. I want you to open an additional web browser. And I want you to navigate to kwtechhelp.com.
Okay.
You should see a screen that says Agent Services Division, join us live, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, there should be a tab for Ignite.
I don't see that. Oh, yes. Okay.
This is like where all of your Ignite resources are, student resources, yada, yada. This is not where the link to his script practice is, so give me another second to find it for you. I know
think it's
on
right
here.
above, it's where, like you have
Network
the
live
time.
schedule, maybe.
It's under the times and then like where it says KW in the middle, and then it's like, it's right below that one, and then scroll down and it says home or hold off on buying a home in the black
There.
box.
Oh, let me go back to the little home button so I can see what you're talking about when you scroll down. Well, mine doesn't look like that.
Mine doesn't either.
Okay, well, mine doesn't look like that. I'm sorry. So, but if you found it and you're at the script practice link, great. If not, I think my next best guess would be to go to the Network Live Schedule tab. And
I could see if I can put it in the chat box. Let me access my email here.
okay, super awesome.
Yeah, if I can copy it.
Oh, it's in Connect. Okay.
Okay.
So, well, here's definitely what I'm going to do. Jessica, thank you so much for trying to copy it. You can keep working on that if you want. But what I
just
will
got it.
do, oh, let's see.
Constant contact?
Files, constant contact.
That worked for me.
Was it
Thank you,
working?
Jessica.
So it was in constant contact. Okay.
Well, this is good. This is a script.
I think it's on the
Um,
way bottom. That's the one we used this week.
Pivot
Right.
script. Yeah.
For your
it's
script
in K-
practice.
So maybe that's in KW University then.
No, it's not. Actually, what
No.
I'm talking about is the link to actually get into the script practice room.
Yeah.
And so here's what I'm gonna promise you out of this is we won't waste any more time trying to get there now, but I will follow up with everyone in attendance today, and I will post the link to that and the time so that you guys will have an opportunity on a daily basis to do script practice. How's that sound?
Sure.
All right, perfect. So, the link though, that I think it was Jessica that posted, you can absolutely use that script or any of the other scripts, which you actually should have a couple in your Ignite binder as well. Memorize in 6 steps. I'm getting there so I can kind of tell you where to go. Yeah, page 43 of your Ignite session 1. Here are the scripts that you want to practice right away when you're new. The new in real estate script, the new to Keller Williams script, if you're from another brokerage and just moving over. Reminding people you're in real estate. If you have been playing the secret agent for a few months and you want to have a rush on it, or new to the area. And I am going to tell you the best way. So how many of you, are you all like new agents, or are some of you transferring agents from another brokerage?
Pretty new.
I'm a transferring
Yep,
agent.
I'm gonna
from another
say like,
brokerage.
so far, you are. How long have you been in real estate, Jamar?
I've been in real estate now for a little over a year. This is going on my second year. So January will be my
Okay.
second year.
Okay, Jamar, and for anyone else who's in his same shoes, the script that you want to use is new to Keller Williams, or remind them you're in real estate. Okay, because you've been doing this for a year, and if you haven't been like totally consistent with your lead generation, those 2 scripts are completely appropriate. And then for anyone who's a new agent, I would just go with this new to real estate. Hello, this is Shauna. Do you have a moment? I'd like to share the exciting news. I've become a real estate agent. Wow.
So Shauna?
Yes.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that I have uploaded into my contacts are people I haven't talked to for several months. And people I know from previous jobs, from where I lived in San Diego, things like that. So I feel like out of the box, I need to say something like, hey, I wanted to reach out, see how you're doing. You know, how's your family been doing with COVID? You know, something like that.
Absolutely.
And they're going to say, what are you up to? And then I'm going to say, oh, I'm not doing fundraising anymore. I'm working in real estate. And then I kind of launch into the script.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Because I kind of feel like I have to have that to start out. Otherwise, it's going to be really awkward because, you know, I'm not even showing that I have reached out to see how they're doing, period.
Totally. Okay, I'm going to type a word into the chat box. Do you see it? It's Kez Ford. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Alicia Sells. It's his family. Oh, girl, you got it. Have you taken bold?
Probably. Recreation.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes, it just says yes. So yes, it's family, occupation, dreams, and recreation. And this is a ebb and flow of a script that you can internalize, but it makes it a very natural conversation as long as you can remember those 4 key points. And we do what's called a forward sandwich, which is exactly what you were describing. Like, hey, you know, I don't want to just call them and be like, I'm a realtor. Next, I'm a realtor.
Yeah.
Next.
For sure. That wouldn't work.
So if you're having that conversation and it looks like, hey, Joe, how's your family been? Like, long time no talk. Then you chat, you know, oh, family's good, blah, blah. The girls are in ice skating and da, da, da. Great. How's your job going? Last I heard you were up for a promotion. You know, you're just talking through like dreams. It would be probably slightly awkward to call people you haven't talked to in a long time and be like, what are you, tell me your dreams. But what I have what I have heard a lot of people do is go ahead and have a conversation around like, hey, anything fun coming up, vacations, or, you know, goals for the year that do not include flying or, you know, using a shared swimming pool.
What do you look forward to doing after COVID is over?
Yeah.
Dreams.
Yes, exactly. And then of course, recreation. So, and especially this is a conversation that's perfect for COVID because it's like people have changed so much the way they do things. So you can have that conversation and of course they'll reciprocate because you've shown the candor and the care to be able to have the conversation about what are they up to lately. They're going to ask you, hey, how's your family? And you're going to tell them, and they're going to ask you about your job and you're going to be like, well, it's funny you ask actually, because I'm so excited. I just got my real estate license and, you know, I'm literally sitting down and last my business plan, and now I'm launching into goal setting and just getting started. And I'm just really excited about it. I think it's a great opportunity. And Joe's going to be like, well, that's awesome to hear. Huh?
Shauna, can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
And anybody else? How many people do you think are deterred by us saying that we're brand new?
Ooh, good question. I don't think anyone who cares about you will be deterred because you're brand new.
From utilizing you or recommending you?
Yes, that's right.
Somebody said to me, maybe they won't use you themselves, but they'll refer you to somebody else. You know? So
well,
they see what you do.
Here's the thing. You're not really new, are you? How many hours did you have to study the law to get your license?
Oh my God.
Well, and something that I've been told a lot is that we have our principal broker, we have our PC coach, we have our team who have years of experience. We have our, you know, team leader and the other people that we work with. So we may be new, but we have resources.
Right.
All the wisdom behind us.
But you have all of that, but you also have that excruciating 150 hours of actual contract law that you all have very fresh in your minds. Like, you know what you're doing really to a certain extent. What you guys are learning now is how to get business and the mechanics of it. But like, once you're under contract, you know all the laws, disclosure, like, you know, inspection, all of that. Like, you learned that. You just got done learning it. And absolutely, you have a principal broker who is going to be watching you like a hawk. And you have a mentor and a coach in Mara and Matt and myself for contract support to walk you through those transactions. And, you know, when you're asking for referrals, if you sense any hesitation, I would just not let it be the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? If you're sensing the hesitation, then just ask them like, hey, you know, what one thing could I do to help you feel comfortable in giving me a referral?
That's good.
One thing that I thought of when it comes to being a new agent and people trying to use that as an argument against you as to why not to sign with you is also that you can turn that around on them and say, yes, I am a new agent. And so I'm not bogged down with 75 or 100 clients. I'm working with 3 or 4 people right now, and I'll be able to really dedicate more time to you and really go to bat for you and make sure I do all the research needed and do all the due diligence. And I think you can turn it back around on them and almost use it as an advantage.
That's great.
Nice.
That is a really good advantage. Yes. And if that does come into play, but I would tell you, I think the conversation happens less than you think.
Okay. Good. That's
Can I share something super quick just about this? Because just to reiterate the experience thing, just anecdotally, before I bought my house, I was really lucky when I found the agent that I found, but I already talked to an agent who was super experienced. She had like over 20 years of experience. So I thought, oh, this is a great person. and she gave me a lot of wrong information, I found out later. So, and I think, and of course I would never advocate for, you know, bashing an agent in order to get business, but I mean, yeah, just to reiterate, because someone has experience doesn't necessarily mean they know what they're doing or they're the best for a particular buyer. So anyway, that's something that personally motivates me as a new agent, is finding people who may lose out on the opportunity to buy a home because they don't think they can because someone told them the wrong info what they thought was credible.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I will tell you guys, we're not anywhere through this material because we spent so much time just really getting granular with the important things. So we're gonna skip over the lead generation portion of this where you get to practice. It's about 20 minutes of making phone calls. I would just make sure that you are time blocking for your lead generation and do that 20 minutes of lead generation after the class is over. The next thing that I would like to talk about, if you can navigate to your book, page 51, is time blocking and living by your calendar. This is one of the #1 ways you can basically whip yourself into shape and know if you're having success for the day or not, is like defining well what success looks like for a day, being able to identify very clearly what your 20% of this is, and doing first things first. And like, then your calendar is in charge of you, right? And as long as you're living by your calendar, you're in charge of your business and the direction that it goes. That makes sense. So here's an example of what we call a perfect calendar. Wake up, personal and family time, do a little workout. You know, maybe you're doing meditation or prayer or whatever in the morning. You have that personal time to really set the day off in the correct zone. And then we're all going into the market center, or if you're working from your home office, showing up in the place where you're going to work, you know, making sure you have a clearly defined spot in the home where this is what you're going to do. You're going to work and do these activities during these times. So showing up in the market center, virtual market center or not, and you're going to respond to some emails and phone calls, role play scripts, follow up on leads, and organize your database just from 7 to 8 or from 7 to 9. From 9 to 11, then you've organized your database, you've got your scripts out, you've refreshed and you've practiced, so they're really fresh in your mind, and you're going to go into active lead generation from 9 to 11. It says attend Ignite Power Session and do your lead generation, but what I'm saying is we have our afternoon ones. What I'm saying is probably focus on lead generation in the morning before you come to class, because we only give you like 20 minutes during Ignite to do your lead generation. And if you've got big goals fueled by a big why, you will want to time block some additional lead generation time in the morning. Lunch break, you're going to go to any appointments you've set after your lead generation. Any market center trainings that you've scheduled. Time block an hour to complete your daily 10-4. I gotta go put my dog in the garage. Sorry about the barking. Okay. Okay, so then you got previews, visits, home and family time, reviewing your calendar for the following day. And then it gives you an example of another day's calendar. You can kind of start to see a rhythm here. These dark gray sections, it's essentially like 3 hours of dark gray is your 20%. I would almost say it's your 10%. I think following up on leads should be in dark gray. And it does need to become part of that like 4-hour time block. Here you see there's a 3-hour time block from 9 to 11 and then like 3 to 4. You can put this any time of day you want. You know, some of you have part-time jobs or other jobs and you're working this around your life. Just make sure that you dedicate enough time to get it done every day. Where on that spectrum it falls makes no never mind. Any questions about that? Okay, I will take that as a no. Okay, accountability partners. This is another big part that will help you, especially launching over the next quarter. You have your success coaches and mentors. That would be, if you're in the productivity coaching program, Matt, Mara, and myself. I would also go ahead and identify someone who's going through these classes with you. And if you guys want to look at this participants list and get an idea, having an accountability partner outside of your coach is a really good idea, especially for script practice and for encouragement. So, you know, build some relationships with people in class, and you guys can like text or call each other every day. Like, I used to have an accountability partner and we would call each other every morning and practice scripts for like literally 7 minutes while I was driving my kids to school. And then I dropped my kids at school and I'd head into the office. And then I was texting her when I started my lead gen. And then I would text her when I finished my lead gen. And I would text her like how many actual contacts I made and if I got any appointments. And she would do the same for me. So we were basically like just giving each other an added layer of accountability of like, okay, great. And I've started mine and I've done 2 hours and I talked to 20 people and I got 1 appointment. So I would do that. Encourage you to start building relationships with other agents in the office and other new agents in this class and encourage each other. Okay. And then on page 61, you'll find a couple of agreements in the book. Can someone volunteer to read the first agreement? It's called the Agreement of Expectations.
I can read it.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you.
Sure. So you said page 61.
Yep, should be page 61. Agreement of Expectations. Is that what you're seeing on yours?
Yeah. There's just a whole number of things. Looks like you're supposed to initial or check mark or something.
Yes.
That's on it.
So, yes, absolutely. And this can, what I will say about this is like, we're not entering into a legal and binding contract here. And just like I've said throughout this entire class, whether you initial and sign this and have your team leader and your MCA sign it or not, you're making a commitment to yourself first and foremost. And if you want the support and added accountability of the Market Center, we are here to do that for you. So print this page, read it, initial the things, only initial the lines that you're absolutely committed to commit to, and then get other people involved in holding you accountable to that. And there is a spot for your team leader signature, your MCA signature, of course, your signature. But these are basically over the next 90 days, your commitment to moving your business forward. And if you could read that, that'd be great.
Okay. I commit to attending all Ignite sessions is the first one. Next is I commit to adding to my database 200 or more names and contact information as quickly as possible within 30 days of this dated agreement. I commit to lead generating, which is speaking with people about real estate every day. I commit to making business calls during Ignite classes. I commit to completing my mission for each power session of Ignite. I commit to being prepared for my customers by memorizing and using scripts or sales language. I commit to working on my 6 personal perspectives. I commit to following a time-blocked calendar of activities throughout Ignite. I understand that I'm developing success habits, and by agreeing to this covenant, I agree to take control of my own business success. And the last one is I have discussed the commitment of this covenant with those in my life who will be affected, and they understand and have agreed to support me.
Okay. Yes, so this is some serious stuff. That's a lot of commitment there. And it is everything that you need to commit to have success in this business. And the consistency to which you can execute on the commitment will show up in your results for sure. Now, there's a wonderful agreement for your family and significant other, kids, if they're old enough to understand the conversation. And I would highly recommend that you sit down with your family and make it a group family meeting. And if you don't have kids, then just make it an intimate conversation with your spouse or significant other. And if you don't have any of those things, then check it off the list and be like, sweet, I'm going to tell my roommate not to bug me while I'm trying to lead generate or whatever. So can someone take a minute to read the family significant?
I can do it.
Thank you.
Family significant others agreement. Your loved one has chosen to build a business in real estate. This can provide your family an opportunity to build wealth and live the life you want to live. As with building any business, it will take commitment, time, and effort. Above all, it'll also take your support. As your loved ones begins this new endeavor, please take a moment to consider the statement below and discuss how you will support one another in this exciting time. To a family member, I understand the time and activity commitment that Ignite and a real estate business requires. I understand that in starting a real estate business, workdays may extend into evenings and weekends. I understand the commitment and give my complete support. This may mean that I am doing more for a while, caring for children, making meals, cleaning, and etc. Capper in training. I understand that my family is supporting me so that I can succeed, and I commit to do these activities required to be successful. I commit to communicating with my schedule to my family to better plan our time together.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, this was huge and really important to do with my kids. And when I first started in real estate, my kids were pretty young. My oldest is 16 now, so she was like 11 or 12 when I first started. But my youngest is 11 now, so he was like pretty young. He was like six or 7, something like that. And I sat them down and literally read it word for word, and then have translated it into what my kids could understand, which is, for now and just for the next little bit, you're not going to get as much time with mom. So that might be kind of hard, but just know mom loves you and mom is doing this because I love you very much. And it's going to be a big time commitment. So daddy and auntie are going to be doing more things with you. And also you're going to have to help more, and pick up your toys and do the things, whatever, so that I can focus on the business. And then mommy promises to cuddle with you more on Saturday mornings or more on Friday nights. Like I made an agreement with my kids that even though I'm not available for cuddles every single day, I will never miss a Friday night family game night. And we just made a ritual of always being together as a family on Friday nights. So whatever it is that you need to do, but having the conversation with your family on the committed time. And especially for those of you in transition from, you know, if you're still working and you're making a transition into real estate and you're working and doing it, well, it's even more important for you to be having these conversations with your family. Because I think at that point, our families are the one place where if we don't have a commitment conversation with them, it would be very easy for us to allow our goals to go by the wayside, especially when we're feeling guilty about not giving them enough time and energy. And we want to feel like we're in it together and it's a shared goal. And then when you're hitting your goal, it's a happy moment to celebrate with your spouse or with your kids, because all of the work that they're doing and the sacrifice that they're making is contributing to your success as well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. And I think giving them a time frame, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel for some of these changes too. Like at the end of the quarter, that means just a couple of months, or, you know, for younger kids, like right after Christmas or right after New Year's, we're going to have another family meeting and I'll be able to tell you all about what our next goal is. So this is temporary and short term, you know, that way they know this is not ruining their life. It's just going to be for a minute. You know, does anyone have any questions, concerns about anything that we've covered today in class? And I know I've taken you over, so those of you who have appointments, definitely feel free to hop off, but we're just on our last 5 minutes here. So any questions about the action plans, missions, materials, commitment? Okay, do me a quick favor and put a thumbs up in the chat session if you are good to go and you have absolutely no questions. Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. No questions for now. Wonderful. Awesome. Okay, and then one favor that I would ask all of you who are still here, in the chat section, I wonder if I can copy this and paste it fresh so that you all can see it. There is a feedback form I would love for you to fill out about today's class. Just follow the link that I just posted in the chat and go ahead and give your feedback on the class. And I look forward to working with you all over the next several months. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.